Let us look at the next slide, which speaks about a lot of other aspects of body language in a nutshell. Some of these we have already covered in the previous slides, and some of them we will cover in this particular slide. The very first aspect here is the posture. Posture is nothing but the way you stand. An upright posture helps you to convey your point meaningfully. What you do is you convey your point in a manner which is confident and has conviction. Posture has certain don'ts like slouching. Now I'm standing straight. If I am to lean on some object and slouch, automatically there will be a disturbance created for the audience who will look at you slouching, and they will, instead of focusing on your point of communication, will look at your posture. So I would request you to refrain from slouching. Appearance is the way you stand. An upright posture helps you to convey your point meaningfully. What you do is you convey your point in a manner which is confident and has conviction. Posture has certain don'ts like slouching. Now I'm standing straight. If I am to lean on some object and slouch, automatically there will be a disturbance created for the audience who will look at you slouching, and they will, instead of focusing on your point of communication, will look at your posture. So I would request you to refrain from slouching. Appearance is of a primary importance. Your appearance needs to be clean and tidy for speaking. But please refrain from rapid hand movements. A lot of speakers have a habit of rapidly moving their hands. What this does is it creates a disturbance, and hence some parts of your message or your communication will be lost due to you rapidly moving your hands. The next is the eye movements. Since eye contact is of a quintessential importance where you engage your audience, please do not wink or use rapid eye movements. What this does is it creates a disruption or a disturbance to your audience members. The next aspect we have discussed already is the aspect of facial expressions. The most preferred facial expression to keep is a smile. As I said, a smile is contagious, and so is a frown. When you frown, members of the audience might not be comfortable with the fact that you, as a giver of information, is frowning. So please refrain from frowning and use a lot of smiling. The next aspect is body contact. Please reduce body contact with the audience. Give them their space and make it comfortable for them to understand you and your presentation. Certain aspects like shaking of hands can be done in a brisk manner. The next aspect is, as I've already discussed, closeness, which is invading someone's space. Please use a distance which is comfortable from the members of the audience so that both you and them are comfortable. The next point is laughing or different sounds. Please do not create sounds while you're presenting. Sounds like tapping, sounds like laughing aloud. What you can do is you can refrain from these and use your vocal techniques to create better presentations. The next aspect is the way of talking. This we have discussed in the previous slide, which speaks about pausing and phrasing. What pausing does is, it helps your audience members to understand the piece of communication. What you do is you divide your communication into bits and pieces, which are easy for people to digest. If you continuously go on speaking, your audience members might not understand or might not acquire all information which is being thrown by you or delivered by you. Hence, it is very important to pause at the right moment of time and then phrase ahead. So I think these are certain valuable inputs which will help you create better presentations and present in a better manner. Having understood the aspects of body language in a nutshell, let's proceed to the next slide. So after having an extensive discussion on the aspects of body language or the aspects of non-verbal communication, what we will do now is have a reiteration and a reinforcement of the same concept through the use of a video. This video makes use of notable people who use the lighthouse effect, the use of vocal effects. There are 3 prominent speakers who will be made use of in this particular video, and you will be shown the use of body language to create effective presentations. So let us start looking at this particular video and the message in this video.
Hello, I'm Carmine Gallo, a communications coach. When you speak, you represent a brand, the brand of you. How you talk, walk, and look reflects upon that brand. What does your body language say about you? Does it say that you are authoritative, confident, and competent, or just the opposite? Great business leaders employ 3 very simple techniques to work a room. Technique number 1, maintain eye contact 90% of the time. Look at the person you're speaking to. If you're addressing a small or a large group in a room, break up the room into 3 parts. For the first part, look at one individual in one part of the room, make a point, direct your gaze to another part of the room, make your point, and then finish off with the rest of the room. Watch Oracle CEO Larry Ellison work a room with his eyes.
We're promoting Linux to our other users who are not using Linux now because we really think it's the best system. Best meaning cheapest, fastest, most reliable.
Do you see how he makes everyone feel important and included? Now, the second technique is to maintain an open body posture. This simply means you don't put anything in between yourself and the listener. This, for example, is closed. Watch former Hewlett-Packard CEO Carly Fiorina maintain an open posture, especially with her hands.
The fact that we're a technology company that participates in printing and imaging and enterprise computing and devices and networking and services means that we have the ability to deliver solutions in a way that is truly unique.
Do you see how effective that is? Now, the third and final technique is to use hand gestures. People will often ask me, Carmine, what do I do with my hands? Do I just hold them in my pocket? No, of course not. Feel free to use your hands. In fact, studies show that complex hand gestures, in other words, using 2 hands during the course of a conversation, reflects complex thinking. It actually gives us confidence in the speaker. Watch Symantec CEO John Thompson.
It's becoming a regulatory alphabet soup. GLBA, HIPAA, PIPEDA, Basel II, you name it. Needless to say, all of these bring their own cost and complexity for you to deal with.
So remember, maintain eye contact, an open posture, and use those hand gestures. By doing those 3 simple things, you'll take your presentations to a whole new level.
Impressive, wasn't it? Yes, this video definitely spoke volumes about what we have recently understood about body language, which is non-verbal communication. 3 people, 3 different styles, but all spoke about definitive techniques about enhancing your presentation skills. If these people can do it, so can you. So what you need to do is practice these particular techniques since you're now made aware of them. Let us look at the aspect or the next section which speaks about the aspect of audience engagement, which is the last section of this video session. Actively engaging with your audience members has to be the key of presenting. Yes, this needs to be your topmost goal. Why? Because if you're able to interact with your audience members and your audience members are able to participate in your presentation, half your work is done. Full engagement helps you to secure your mission and your objectives. People should ask questions. You as a presenter should not create monotony by speaking all the time. You should also ask sensible and valuable questions to your audience members. You can achieve a good level of audience engagement in your presentations with the help of visual aids and the questioning techniques. These two important techniques will be discussed extensively in the subsequent slides. What are visual aids? Will be your question. Yes, as we know to some extent, visual aids are those aspects or those helps which we receive which are apart from the presenter. The very first visual aid you might be surprised to know is the presenter himself or herself. Yes, we are ourselves a visual aid to the audience. Hence, whatever actions, whatever gestures, whatever is your stance will all be looked at as a visual aid. So please present a confident and a convicting you. Apart from you as a presenter, there are other visual aids which we will look at and which are represented pictorially over here. The next important visual aid, as you can see, is a PowerPoint presentation, which you will show through a projector or an LCD screen. The presentation is so important because it conveys information through the use of a projector. It conveys your thought in a better manner because your ideas are represented through images, through various writing aspects. We also have the use, or we can make the use of a flip chart, which is shown over here. At times, a presentation becomes monotonous if you're just using a PowerPoint presentation. In order to create some relief in your presentations, also write questions. Ask for other aspects or ideas and note them down on a flip chart. Flip chart creates a relief between you, the presentation, and other visual aids. We also have visual aids like showing video clips, which I have shown over here, as well as certain questions and interactions like role plays, which can also be used as visual aids. Interesting? Yes. There's a certain overlap between certain practices which can be used as visual aids. Let us look at the effective use of these visual aids which we have discussed in the previous slide. The very first point speaks about, are the visual aids easy to read and understand? A presentation with a few points on the board and a lot of pictorial representation is easy to read and understand. So you need to follow a principle which we have discussed previously, which is called as the KISS principle. Yes, you need to keep the points on your presentation short and simple, the diagrams simple and lucid. Are the visual aids in line with the presentation? You need to take care that the images or the text in your presentation is in line with the context or the objective of your presentation. A lot of people have the habit of employing fancy images or projections which are not in line with the content. What happens here is your audience loses focus and track on the presentation. Although your images might seem fancy or even elaborate and complicated, this will not serve the purpose of your presentation. Finally, can they be easily seen from all areas of the room? You need to take special care as a visual aid yourself, the presenter, that you're seen by all members of the audience. You can ask them questions which will make you understand and acknowledge if this task has been completed and accomplished. You can ask questions at the start of a session if whatever you're writing or whatever you're presenting is visible to all members of the audience. If not, you can request the audience members to regroup, to restructure, and to change their seating position so that they can see you easily. Let us look at the next slide, which speaks about another set of techniques which helps us create better or more effective audience engagement. This is nothing but the art of questioning. Yes, let us look at 3 important questioning techniques that we can ask or we can employ and create better audience interaction. The very first technique is the use of the 3 P's. Let me go ahead and demonstrate this technique and then tell you what the 3 P's stand for. Let me go ahead and blank the screen so that I create more focus and interaction with you. The 3 P's basically talk about posing a question. What I would do now is I would demonstrate this technique by asking you a question. So what do you think are the 2 techniques in which you can make a presentation effective? Yes? So what I have done in turn now is I have not taken the name of an audience member or pointed to someone from the audience before I ask the question or instantly when I ask a question. What I'm doing is, after posing a question, I pause for more than a few seconds. I am creating an alertness amongst the audience. Then what I do is, I pick a member of audience. Now what happens is, once this technique is used, all the members of the audience are alert to the next question, and hence it improves audience participation. So the very first P in the pause and pick technique is the pose. Posing means nothing but asking a question or throwing a question to the audience. What am I doing next? Yes, I'm going ahead and pausing for a while. During pausing, I look at all members or a few members of the audience to look at their reaction. Are they paying attention? Have they understood your question? And finally, I go ahead and pick a member of the audience. Hence, the 3 P's become very effective when asking a particular question. The next technique is acknowledging the question asked by a person and appreciating the person who asks a question. We all like being appreciated and acknowledged as knowledgeable people. So yes, what you need to do is you need to acknowledge the question asked by a person. A very simple technique like, yes, that's a wonderful question that you have asked. And after answering the question, you need to thank the person like, does that answer your question? And thank you for asking the question. Some very simple ways and means of creating a better rapport and interaction using this particular technique. Last but not the least, you need to restate a question to the audience. A lot of times, your visual techniques go for a toss when a particular member of the audience asks you a question. I'm going to demonstrate the very same effect and how to overcome this. Let's click on the B button. Consider that a member of the audience is asking you a question from the left-hand side of the audience. Yes, what is the question? What happens is you are not paying attention to the other members of the audience. A lot of them might have not heard what question has been asked. So what you need to do is you need to understand the question from that person and need to restate the same question to the other members of the audience using your voice methods, that is, your voice projection technique. Having had the audience members understand the question, you can then go ahead and ask for an audience answer, or you can answer the question yourself. This creates awareness, alertness, and engagement from the audience. So are these techniques useful and practical? Yes, they definitely are. And as a presenter, a public skills trainer, and a soft skills trainer, these techniques help me immensely while I present or train people. Let us look at the next slide, which speaks about a video on visual aids. This particular video gives us valuable inputs and insights on visual aids.
Have you ever noticed how babies and children can stand up and sing a song or speak to adults without any inhibition? Why is it that as adults we feel so self-conscious? A lot of the anxiety comes from our belief that people are judging us. While people are sizing you up, the fact is they really don't care about you. I know that sounds strange, but think about it. The last time you were in the audience, did you really care about the speaker? No. What you care about is getting the information. So we become wrapped up in the idea that audiences are judging us harshly, and while they're certainly evaluating us and thinking about us, they're generally pretty forgiving. I don't say that to take away from the importance of developing your skill as a speaker, but at the same time, most people have been there, they know it's difficult, and they don't expect perfection. So one of the first steps in overcoming anxiety is to believe that the audience wants you to succeed. When you look out there at those faces, remember, they're there to listen and to learn. Another secret to overcoming anxiety is preparation and practice. Anxiety is a physical reaction to adrenaline flowing through your veins, and that happens when you feel fear. You become fearful when deep down you know you're unprepared. Your palms get sweaty, your heart starts to race, your mind goes blank. These are all functions of an adrenaline rush. The way to manage this is by preparing so well that your brain doesn't seize on fear and trigger the adrenaline overdrive. Practice as many times as you can. Each time you do this, internalize the message. So by the time you get up to speak, you're very familiar with your talk. This is by far the surest way to manage anxiety. Finally, there are a few things you can do right before you speak. Get rest, walk around, listen to music you love, and also avoid caffeine or alcohol and drink plenty of water. Taking care of your body will certainly reduce anxiety, and it'll give you the edge of confidence you need when you walk on that stage. As the great American poet Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, all the good speakers were bad speakers first. And it's true. Preparation and practice are the key. For more tips on building confidence, go to www.bates-communications.com and click on Articles. And to learn about our upcoming workshops, click on Boot Camps.
So having looked at the video on visual aids has cleared a lot of our concepts and thus created a reinforcement and a reiteration of the concepts which I spoke about. After having understood the 4 aspects that we have looked at, we are going to quickly summarize this video session and end it. The very first aspect that we looked at was the aspect of planning. Planning in life is very important, not just for presentations, but for any aspect in life. We all need to plan, like whenever we go for a vacation, don't you plan ahead? Yes, you plan your itinerary, you plan your air or bus tickets. You plan for the simplest of things in life, don't you? Yes, we all plan our monthly budget as well. So why should planning be left out from a presentation? In order to make a presentation delivery effective, please plan ahead. Planning, as we have seen, requires a lot of immaculate steps like preparing a presentation on paper, then going ahead and creating a structure, and finally presenting. The next aspect, yes, you've guessed it right, that is anxiety or conquering your presentation nerves. We all get nervous, or we all have our hormones racing when we are about to present in front of people or in front of the camera. So what we need to do is we need to employ useful techniques while presenting. We have already discussed some important and some very essential techniques while we plan and while we go ahead and present. Breathing is a useful technique. Please understand and practice deep breathing before you go into a presentation. This will help you relax and will help you utilize your energy towards enthusiastically presenting. You can also make use of notes and water. Water helps you calm your nerves and to clear your throat and enrich your voice quality. Knowing your content also goes a big way in conquering your presentation nerves, as does rapport building. If you know people by their names, a few of their hobbies, definitely you will win people to your cause. They will become your friends and presenting will become a simple affair for you. And remember to make it effective as well. The third aspect is body language, or those non-visual aspects about you which will speak volumes while you present. Your posture, your eye contact, your gestures, all are important aspects. What I will do is I will speak about 3 important aspects and summarize this particular section. The very first which I would love to summarize is the lighthouse effect. As I've demonstrated in a subsequent slide, a lighthouse effect should be a constant shifting gaze. It should not be a stare to make a person uncomfortable, or it should not be a bias towards the left-hand side or towards the right-hand side of the audience sections. Each member should be engaged through your eye contact like Adolf Hitler did so effectively. The second aspect about body language is your posture. You should have an open posture, and please do not fold your arms across your chest. Even while writing on a board, please use the 45 degrees technique. The third aspect about body language is the facial expressions. Please have a pleasant facial expression. Please ensure that you don't have a frown on your face. Like a smile, a frown may also be contagious and will result in a disaster. That is, your presentation won't be effective. Even if you are a great presenter, you will not be able to win the hearts of your audience. Last but not the least, we have got and understood the aspect of audience engagement. These are employing simple techniques like visual aids, which help us as presenters to break the monotony. Monotony is nothing but boredom. If I were to present in front of you for the next 10 or 15 hours, I don't think any of you would view this presentation. Yes, monotony is human, and boredom is also human. We all get bored because we cannot focus for more than an hour or 2. Hence, in this hour or 2, we need to create engagement through different aspects like colors, images. You can also make use of a flip chart in cognizance with your questioning. You can put inputs of the audience on a flip chart and discuss them. You can create introspection amongst the audience members by reflecting their own ideas through a flip chart. We have looked at 4 different videos. What are these? These are nothing but reiterations and reinforcements of the concepts that a speaker says. But instead of me repeating things, these are presented through a different visual medium. So aren't these interesting? Yes. So what I would request is please use as many different visual aids in your presentations to make your delivery effective. Finally, I would like to speak about the questioning technique. This technique creates the real engagement in your presentations. Ask questions, use techniques, practice them. The PPP technique is an easy technique when you have practiced it a few times, and it's a great audience engagement tool. Pose, pause, and pick are the 3 elements of the PPP technique. Pose a question, pause or wait for some time, look at the audience members to gather their acknowledgement, the feedback visually, and then pick a person to answer that question. Please don't forget to restate a question asked by a member of audience to the other members, probably because he or she might not be loud enough to ask that question, and the members of the audience might be clueless about this question. So your job as a presenter is to restate this particular question. Finally, you need to also understand that people are important. People are human. So go ahead, acknowledge them for asking a question and appreciate and thank them for asking that question. Once a person is appreciated, that person gets the motivation to ask more questions. he or she becomes more comfortable with you, thus sharing your objectives and helping you accomplish them, hence creating effective and better presentations. Thank you. Here we end this particular session on creating effective presentations, that is, delivering of presentations, the presenter.